I didn't understand first of all, I don't understand how the format with the NBA works. It really bothers me that, and I knew when the Mavericks, the 76ers, and the Spurs were in the Final Four, I knew those guys were going 1, 2, and 3. I didn't think the Hornets were getting in the top 3. I knew they were going to fall to 4. And it's just very fitting the way the NBA works. When the Spurs lost Wembanyama and he was out, and he could be out a significant amount of time next year with a blood clot. We don't know when he's going to return. We don't know when he's coming back, even though a lot of people think he's going to be back in the beginning of the season. I just had some thoughts on why the Spurs were possibly going to win the draft. And I remember Tim Duncan with Wake Forest when they had, I think they were the 8th or 9th best team to get the first pick, and they went from 8th or 9th all the way to first. It was very fitting, and it really changed the trajectory of the Spurs. With David Robinson. David Robinson was at the tail end of his career. If you remember, it was 96, 97 when they drafted Tim Duncan. It took, 2.5 years for them to win a title with Tim Duncan and David Robinson? David Robinson right off to the sunset, and then Tim Duncan took over. You added Manu Ginobili, you added Tony Parker and Kawhi Leonard eventually, and you built championship after championship after championship, 5 championships with the great Greg Popovich, as we all know what I think of him. Just look at what the Mavericks have done to their organization. And it was very fitting at the LJA draft, the LeBron James Association draft, that the Mavericks would win the number 1 pick. LeBron gets Luka Doncic and has a chance to maybe land another superstar to play with him for the next, 5 or 4 years, whenever LeBron decides to walk away, which seems to be never until he tries to tie Kobe Bryant or even tie Michael Jordan. And you know what? LeBron just, waves his magic wand, as I said, and automatically at 1.8% chance, they get the number 1 pick and they get the great prize in Cooper Flagg. And this is great for the Dallas Mavericks and their organization because Cooper Flagg is the face of United States basketball. I've said this and I'll say it again. It's perfect. Luka Doncic, one of the best foreign players in the world. Nobody gave a crap that he was there with Dallas. And now you get a guy that is just as athletic and just as gifted as Luka Doncic offensively, I believe, and defensively. I compare him to the white Kevin Durant. If Cooper Flagg turns into a Kevin Durant prototype who can play defense and do the things that he could do on a basketball court, well, who do you think wins in this trade? Nico Harrison. And Nico Harrison at that press conference. Does anybody remember what Nico said? Nico says, I got a plan. I've got a plan. And my plan will happen at the end of the season. Now, I don't know if his plan was to get the number 1 pick, but the NBA had a plan for him to get the number 1 pick. If they were going to trade Luka Doncic, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory, but it didn't make any sense how the Lakers were the only team up for grab for Luka Doncic. They get Luka Doncic, and they become the 3rd best team in the Western Conference. The Mavericks sneak in on that playing game, lose, and everybody says, this team's going to be garbage. And then what do they get? They get Cooper Flagg. Horrible. The Spurs getting the number 2 pick. Horrible. I don't like it. It's not very good for Fox. Unless the Spurs trade that pick, which me and you, Mr. Fish, have been talking about, maybe they use that to get Giannis. I don't know. I don't think it makes sense. But are they going to trade for a point guard to get a guy? I don't know if the Bucks are going to be looking for a point guard, a young point guard from Rutgers. I don't trust Rutgers players out of basketball to go to the NBA and become superstars. I just don't trust it. When was the last time? Could you remember a Rutgers player that left Rutgers and became a star? No, you can't. No. And I'm not going to bet on a Rutgers player to go to the NBA and become a superstar. So I think it's a bad move.
It's the pride of New Jersey you're talking about.
I'm just speaking the truth.
If it's not here, we can take shots at
I'm just speaking the truth. I'm very upset at the NBA because the Jazz deserved at least a top 5 pick. They didn't get it. The Hornets, they get the 4th pick. The Hornets are just a bad organization. LaMelo Ball is going to probably leave the organization very, very soon because he knows they have no chance of winning. And he's the type of person in that family, the type of family that would stab the Hornets in the back. So I could see LaMelo Ball leave it. And the Wizards, come on. What do they have to look up to and look forward to? Nothing. They've got nothing. Where are they sitting? 7th, 8th? I mean, it's just
Yeah, they got screwed.
They got screwed. I don't like it. I don't like that. The Spurs are a borderline playoff team in the second half, adding De'Aaron Fox. Now they have Wembanyama. They have De'Aaron Fox, and even if they don't go with the point guard, they get another.
Don't forget Castle.
Yeah, they can get Castle. Yeah, they can get. I'm sorry, they have Castle, but you know what I'm saying. They can add another player to a roster that's pretty loaded as far as youth is concerned. So I don't like it. I think the NBA is completely selfish, and I don't want to hear it that this is the way the ball's dropped. The NHL did it right. They did it in front of the cameras. They did it in front of the fans. Why is it the NBA, they have a room of 8 machines, and nobody can go in and nobody can go out while they're doing these balls and these picks. And then all of a sudden you're picking up cards and you're raising these cards. I think there's something behind it. I think the NBA needs to show how they're picking these balls and how these teams are winning the lottery, because the NHL proved that they're not cheating. The NHL proved that it was fair and square the way it landed and how the Islanders won the draft. This is despicable. Absolutely despicable. Absolutely. There should be an investigation on the Mavericks winning. 1.8% chance? I mean, you're better off you have a better chance of winning the regular lottery than winning the NBA lottery at 1.8%. It's despicable. Absolutely despicable. The NBA there's got to be some questions. I think a writer should come out there and attack the NBA from this.